station on 2. I see you have KU, and we've got the camera on the lap. The microphone set up, and I give you audio check.
All right, Don, we are ready for your 10 count. Thanks for that, sir. We have great tone and voice.
for restart.
We're with you on 2, Sonny. Go ahead.
I just want to understand the intent of those restow notes. Do I want to keep them in this series that we just were using in this 1.0, or do I put them back in the original where I got them from?
Checking.
It seems, I think I take them out of here and put them back in the rest of the map. The other maps were in bubble wrap, so I put them back in the bubble wrap where I got them from? I guess my question.
Okay, Sonny, we copy all and we're checking.
Sí.
Stowage. Station Houston on 2 for Sunny and mass stowage.
Oi? Não.
Não se troca, Marcos.
Tá.
Caramba, meu.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, Sonny, you can just put him back the same way you found him.
Okay, sounds good.
And if you want the info, Sonny, they are going to be deployed eventually next week.
Hey, I just moved the camera because I thought Don was done. He's not. So we're gonna have to do a quick scene when he gets back.
Okay, we copy all.
Hold on two.
Hey Jeanette, we just want to let you know since we're about to get into this PAO event with Dawn, but in your WC manual
when
fill, when you get to step 2.2, you have a go.
Copy, I have a go at 2.2. Thank you.
Station Houston on 2 for Dawn. FYI, you got a hot mic.
Copy that. And you probably heard that our toilets go at
We did in fact hear the all-early oxen free.
It's been down for a long time, couple years. Let me see, go down.
You know, Matt, that's a great clarification.
Mark, você já se trocou?
The event.
We are ready for the event.
KGWTV, this is Mission Control Houston. And I have the station for voice check.
Station, this is Devin Haskins from KGW TV. How do you hear me?
KGW TV in Portland, Oregon. Devin, I hear you loud and clear. How do you hear me?
I hear you great. Don, one of the things I want to know is you grew up in the Silverton area. Just talk to me about your childhood and growing up in that area, but also your love for space. When did you first learn that love for space?
I learned that love for space in good old Silverton, Oregon as a kid growing up, and had a telescope, a small telescope, a 3.5-incher, and use it to look all around things you could see. And at that time, it was still dark skies. I'm not sure how it is now. And just studied everything that you can about math and science and engineering and all this uber geek stuff. And then I saw John Glenn fly into space in the Apollo, in the Mercury mission, and that just set a bit in my mind, and it's like, wow, I want to do that.
You've spent just over a year living on the ISS through multiple missions. How has each mission that you've been up there kind of prepared you for the next one?
Well, the first mission was under the construction phase. This was 2002, 2003 time period, and we had half the crew, one third the pressurized volume, one-fourth the electrical power, and we did some science, but most of our work was construction work, and so it was like living in the house while you're still building it, and you got a table saw set up in the dining room and a bucket where the kitchen sink goes. So that was my first mission, and then second mission was a resupply mission for a space station where we brought up the sleep station. We expanded the crew to 6. We also brought up the regenerative life support system that I like to call the coffee machine because it turned yesterday's coffee into today's coffee. And then the third mission was another long duration mission. We were up to a full crew of 6 at that time, and station build was basically complete. Now we've got a crew of 12. It's supposed to be a crew of 7, but for the last month I've been here, it's either been 11 crew members or 12 crew members, so it's a pretty packed place. And we've added 3 new modules since my last mission and taken 1 module away. So there's even more volume available here on Space Station.
You say it's a pretty crowded space station there. You have a couple of extra astronauts that are staying a little longer. That's also happened to you on one of your previous missions. So when it comes to food, do you guys plan for that? Is there extra food brought when a new mission crew comes aboard, or you guys have to ration and say, hey, you're not eating today?
For my first long-duration mission, Expedition 6, Columbia happened during that time, and the shuttles didn't fly for 2.5 years, maybe 3, and we immediately went into a rationing environment where food was rationed, clothing was rationed. We had to be very conscious about water usage. Then for Expedition 6, we started off with normal crew size and normal supplies, but then resupply vehicle was lost in 3rd stage, and then a bunch of food was lost as it sat out on a dock someplace and got frozen and popped all the packages. So we went into another food shortage during Expedition 30. This we're supply aplenty, even for 12 people. We have so much food we can eat as much as we want. We've got clothing, we've got water, we've got all the supplies we need, and most of that is due to the cargo vehicles supplied by commercial space now. We've got cargo vehicles coming up on a routine basis, and they're packed with supplies, and they could supply the extra demands of having this crew of 11 or 12 on space station. So there's no shortages of things right now, except maybe a space around the dinner table for evening.
Talk about one of your previous missions where you, and I believe I read this correctly, you tested the coffee cup invention of yours that you were able to get a patent for. Do I have that correct, and is it still being used today?
Yes, that was in 2008 on STS-126, working with a colleague at Portland State University, Mark Weisslogel, which, by the way, behind me, one of his experiments is currently in progress here on Space Station. Mark Weisslogel and I came up with the idea, and I implemented it during STS-126 and made a prototype, actually 2 prototype versions of the zero-G cup, and it allows an open container to be used in a manner commensurate with how we use open containers on Earth. And that resulted now in two patents. And this time I've got the fourth generation zero-G cup on station with me, and I'm planning to not only use it to enjoy a cup of coffee, but I'm also use it for a number of fluid physics demonstrations.
So we're just a couple weeks away from the election. I know how I can vote, by mailing it in, or if you're someplace, maybe you go to the ballot or the elections office and vote. How do you vote in space? How does that happen?
There's a process for voting in space. I haven't looked at it yet because like you say, we're still a couple of weeks from election, and we're busy up here with our mission operational work, and I will figure out how we vote from space at the appropriate time.
Looking at your social media, your photography is amazing, and I've read that that's one of the passions of yours during your missions up there. Do you ever get tired of the view from the ISS looking down at Earth? How most people are never able to see it.
Yeah, no, you never get tired of looking at Earth. Your orbit varies. It never goes exactly over the same place. It can go close, but it wiggles around a bit, and it consistently shifts to the west, and it might be 8 to 10 days before you go over a similar pass in the same area. And each time you go over, one time it'll be day, one time it'll be night, one time it's low angle setting sun, one time it's noon. It looks different every single time. You never get tired of looking at Earth from space, or looking at the atmosphere on edge and the stars and other celestial things you can watch. You can look at the moon, you can watch the planets. Right now there's Comet 2023-A3 is visible now. It's just about ready to go behind the sun. We've been photographing it for the last couple of weeks, and when it pops out from perihelion, from its closest point to the sun, it pops out on the other side. It should be a real spectacular sight for everybody on Earth as well as people on station.
Can you talk about your current state, your current mission, what you'll be studying, what you'll be looking at?
We on any given mission, there's between 150 and 200 separate scientific investigations that you do, and we as astronauts are more like glorified graduate students doing the experiments on behalf of the principal investigator that's on the ground watching over our shoulders through the video feed. One of the experiments I'm really looking forward to are some of the combustion experiments that we have, and then there are experiments dealing with nanoparticles, little tiny particles that are on the nanometer length scale, almost like macromolecules. There's a number of fades dealing with these nanoparticles because of the lack of gravitational forces, and looking at the structure that they can self-assemble into when it's only charge force without gravitational force. So that's sort of a highlight, and every week we get an uplink message that tells us what we're going to be doing over the next week. So it's all good up here in terms of the scientific investigations, more so than you can keep versed in terms of all the technical details. So you kind of pick and choose the experiments that you really dig into and understand what's going on.
What is something about the ISS that maybe the average American does not realize or does not know?
How we deal with small pieces of trash. Say you're floating around the galley table and you got a packet of food and you want to cut open the packet, and you have this little tiny flap that you've cut off of your packet of food. What do you do with that little tiny flap? It's too small to put in a normal trash can. If we have these trash containers, if you put a small thing in like that, the act of removing your hand from the trash container creates enough of a airflow that the little tiny piece will follow your hand out, and it's like you stuff it back in, you pull your hand out, it comes out again. You stuff it back in, you pull your hand out, and you got to kind of stick it to the wall on the inside of the container or bury it under other trash in order to keep it in. So how do you deal with these little pieces of trash? And what we do is we have wet wipes that come in little wet wipe bags that look just like what you would use if you're taking care of a baby and you're cleaning them up. And when those bags are empty, because they have a little folding door on them and a little plastic thing behind the door, a little plastic sheet, they're perfect for putting in little small bits, a little nut or a bolt. You want to get rid of it, you put it inside of one of these wet wipe containers, and then when that gets full, then you put the wet wipe container into one of our larger trash bags.
You answered that question perfectly. I've never heard that before. What still amazes you every time that you go up there?
We typically don't. What amazes me every time we go up here? It's just the environment. I like to refer to station as my second home, and it's really that way. Being here now, you rapidly reacclimate to being in a microgravity environment, or being weightless, as we say, and then the work, the timeline, the software tools we have, getting things done, dealing with a whole bunch of little pieces, dealing with really large objects, all of that comes back really quickly, and that's one of the joys of you rapidly reacclimate to being in a microgravity environment or being weightless, as we say, and then the work, the timeline, the software tools we have, getting things done, dealing with a whole bunch of little pieces, dealing with really large objects, all of that comes back really quickly, and that's one of the joys of working up here. It's so radically different than work on Earth. And then the views, looking out the window at Earth and at the atmosphere and at the stars, those are just totally amazing. And then the views and images, the photographic compositions that you can make inside a station in terms of how we live and work. So all of that is just something that I really look forward to with every mission that I fly.
You talked about looking out the windows. You talked about your photography. Over the last couple of weeks, the southeastern United States has seen two major hurricanes devastate the area. I'm just wondering, from a global view, to be able to see those huge hurricanes from above, kind of how that hits you, and what you see from up there.
One feeling that comes to mind when I see a major storm, whether it's a hurricane, a typhoon, dust storms in the Middle East, you can see the affected dust storms, which almost look like B-grade science fiction movie dust storms that they have. When you see events like that, it lets you know who's in charge of this planet and who wields the greatest forces. It's not human beings, it's Mother Nature, and we need. It's important to understand how Mother Nature operates and how to stay out of her way when she gets angry at the planet, and how best to continue to advance civilization, living on this planet that has forces that are way outside our control.
And Don, I'll finish up with this, and I again want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me. How many more missions do you have in you? How many more times do you want to go up to the International Space Station? Is retirement anywhere in your future?
No, retirement's nowhere in my future, and people keep asking me, Don, you're getting a little long in the tooth, and you know, the hair you have left is gray, shouldn't you hang up your rocket nozzles? And I tell them that this is not my last mission. This is my next mission, and who knows what's going to happen after this mission.
Don, again, thank you very much. Best of luck to you up there at the International Space Station, and hopefully maybe next time you're here in Oregon, we can meet up in person.
I always make a pilgrimage back to Oregon every few years, and I've got family living there in Corvallis and in Bend, and it's a place that's near and dear to my heart, which, by the way, we had an awesome pass over the Pacific Northwest a couple of days ago, and I haven't gotten around to getting those pictures downlinked, but there will be some neat pictures both during nighttime of cities and daytime coming down from the Pacific Northwest.
Thank you, Houston. Thank you, Houston. Thank you very much.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we're now resuming operational audio communications.
Station on space to ground 2. Permit.
Good morning, Jet. Console is with you on 2 for Kermit, and you have a go in step 1.
Thank you, sir.
Marco? Passou desodorante? Tá bom, então. Ah, eu ia pegar a chave pra eu varrer lá na frente. Deixa eu fazer xixi. Você tomou o xarope? Mentira, se você não tomou, você não sabe. Você tomou o fel. Xarope não.
done.